digitize in the late 90s, and so a lot of the work was done at that time, and they did about 124,000 digital copies then. And when they did the scanning, at 400 dpi and made, these TIFF files, but they decided they were very concerned about people's loading times on the web, and so at the time they decided that they were going to be the 72 dpi access files. And that has, for a long time, still been the standard for what they made available. And we totally understand that nowadays people want to see the high res online, be able to repurpose it for other reasons, and we are totally all about more access to these records. And right now, moving forward, we always make the higher res available online when we add something to ARC. And we are still looking at ways that we can go ahead and do that retroactively, because right now those are stored offline, and they're not online, and we're just hiding them. They're just not online. And there are still a lot of storage issues. The National Archives, has massive holdings, and they're working on storage issues related to electronic records and related to getting these other access files available online. But it's something that is still a challenge, and we wish we had more resources to work on that. So they started building it originally in the late 1990s, and it went online in the early 2000s. And they redid the web version in 2008. And so we can take a look and do copies for digital search copies, or just general searches for descriptions of archival records. We focus on the series level, or sometimes we call it the entry level at NARA, and so it's kind of the way we look at chunks of records it's lower than the record group level, it's the next level down. And we have been focusing on that, and we're at about 68% of the series are described. That's based on cubic footage, because we actually don't know how many series there are for some of the unprocessed records. We're not sure how many series it's going to be, so our goals aren't based on that. It's based on cubic footage, because we have our arms around that a lot better. So to do a search in ARC, I'm just going to search for John Beckman, Charles Detroit. And in this current version of ArcWeb, I do like to use quotes a lot for multi-word searching, just because it cuts down on noise big time. Because all of that, otherwise, sorry to geek out on you, but otherwise the keyword searching is automatically doing Boolean and between them. That's the way it's going to read it. It's not doing a word processing. And the digitization, the way that things get online right now is we have that big batch of 124,000 digitization project that we did in the late 90s, and then moving forward we've continued to do things in-house, special projects because of preservation concerns. We've done projects around different exhibits, so we kind of digitize on an online basis. We still look at things that are in high demand. I need the mic more, please. Sure. We still do things that are more high demand to increase access to them, but we also have been working in digitization partnerships, and that's because the National Archives right now just doesn't have the resources to do as much digitizing as we would love to do. And so the way that these partnerships are currently worked out, we have one with Ancestry, and we had one with Footnote, but recently they were bought by Ancestry, and then also the folks at Family Search. And the way that these work is that they do the digitization, but we get the images and we get the data that they do when they index them, and so we can put up the index information right away, and we're able to provide free access to the images on our site in 5 years. But in the meantime, their sites and the access to our materials that are on their sites are free from any National Archives building around the country. So that's presidential libraries, our locations up through Alaska, Fort Worth, et cetera, here in College Park. And so it really has, I think it's 50 million pages have been digitized by these partnerships. So you can see that that is a lot more that they've been able to accomplish than we were able to get done in that time frame. So we think it really does improve access, and that's why we took that path. But we are still interested in pursuing other ways to make these materials available online and make more high-res online. We've experimented doing stuff through Flickr, and we've been putting up high-res on Flickr when we can. We have about 7,000 images up on Flickr. And not all of them are high-res, but when we can, we do put up the high-res versions. And we're also interested in exploring with you guys possibilities to get more high-res online through something like Wikisource or some other possibilities. We're interested in talking about ways to do that. If somebody would be able to come work with us and be a Wikipedian in resident and do some volunteer work with us to help us figure out and chart out how that would work and what we could do. That's something we'd be interested in doing. So I just did a keyword search for Kennedy. I'll try to speak up as loudly as I can. My parents are teachers, so in general I think I'm loud, but this is a pretty big room, so I have to be a little louder. So I mentioned that, doing the keywords in quotes definitely cuts down on noise. You can always highlight your search terms because sometimes your terms are way buried down in the description. For motion picture films, they have shot lists sometimes that were provided by the agency that made the film, and so they can be up to 2 gig in size, and so you might be like, where the heck is my keyword? So we have this highlighting feature so you can find out why that hit was relevant and isn't a false hit. And there are ways to save your hits to a list. Right now we don't have persisting cookies, so it's just for your session. You can save it, and that's just because of the way the rules were related to cookies and et cetera when this system rolled out in 2008. You can also do advanced searches and limit things and refine it based on the location of records, type of material. So if you're somebody that's really into archives and loves to geek out on that stuff, you can definitely play around with the advanced searches. So the digital copy search is just going to go through the 153,000 hits that I mentioned as well. So if I search for, actually I'm going to search for Proctor, which I love. So Proctor are these hand-drawn family records that some people submitted as part of their pension claims for Revolutionary War service, and they're just some of the most beautiful documents that I think that we have. And so it's automatically going to do 100 hits. That's the default for speed. And already I'm like, I think there are more, so I'm going to go back and see if I can get the response. And so you can go ahead and click on this image to see the digital copy in ARC, and right now to save them, you just kind of right click and download. That's the way to do it. And so this is sort of the state of the field right now. We do have a tendency at NARA to still use a little bit too much archival jargon, we realize, and so there's a lot of rollovers and things to kind of help define. There's a glossary because archivists cannot help themselves. They love the archival terms, and they're so precise. Why would you use something bigger? And so they love them and they can't help it. So what we're still always trying to be like, people don't understand what that means. So we right now are working on the next generation of online access at NARA, and we have a prototype up right now. Is anybody taking a look at it? Okay. That's like me. Thanks, sir. All right. So this is your first chance to take a look at it, and I hope that you will give it a look and please. It's good I'm talking tight in. So here's the prototype. And our goals with this project is to have a system where you can search in one place. Right now you have to search the website, you search the Archival Research Catalog, and then you also go and search AAD, and you can also go search the Kennedy stuff separately. And it's like, this is too much. So we want to be able to search it at one time. And so this is a federated search that they're still working on the requirements for it, and we're still taking feedback. So I hope to get feedback from you guys if you have a chance to take a look at it. We're really eager to know what people want as we move forward because we're still kind of in an iterative approach, still working on requirements for it. So this brings together, right now, this prototype brings together the archives.gov website, some parts of access to online archival databases, which is those electronic records, the more digital stuff, and then an ARC right now. But we have hopes to bring in presidential libraries and other things as well in the future. So over here, I'm going to search for, you can do it. And the reason I love to do the We Can Do It search is because in ARC, those were all stop words and you could not search for We Can Do It. You just get like random stuff back, and I was like, what? So this way we have a lot more control over things like stop words, over lookup. So if you misspell something, it will expand your search and provide a suggestion, just like people are used to seeing in Google and Bing and other